Let's talk about feeding schedules and why this is such an important foundation for your dog's overall well-being. If you are in the habit of cycling through new types of dog foods or trying to bribe your dog to eat with a long list of extra toppings, and you still can't get your dog excited for their main meal, this video is for you. The novelty of new foods usually works for a short time before dogs revert back to being disinterested. So what can be done to get dogs genuinely excited about mealtime? Let's start with a simple question first. How important is it for our dogs to be on a feeding schedule? A good feeding schedule can have a positive impact on your dog's physical, emotional, and behavioral health. The nutrients that are found in your dog's main meals can help their brains function better. This means that good eating habits can improve your dog's ability to learn and can help to regulate their mood. Poor eating habits can lead to dogs that are either under or overweight. Dogs that are not at their ideal weight are prone to weakened immune systems, skin infections, and may be more susceptible to diseases. Leaving food available throughout the day can devalue food and could lead to a dog that is not motivated in training, or a dog that is less likely to engage with food in more challenging training scenarios. Last but not least, if you know that your dog is typically excited for each meal, then you will also have a better indication of when they are sick, because you will see an immediate change in their appetite. You'll know right away that you need to schedule an appointment with your vets. This indicator is less clear for a dog that is not on a healthy eating schedule. Why won't they eat? First off, know that dog food bags usually recommend that you provide more food to your dog than they actually need or want. It's possible that some dog food companies view the food as a product and they simply want you to use more of their product. If you use more, you'll also buy more. One dog food company was cited in an article by Lisa Freeman, a veterinary nutritionist at Cummings Veterinary Medical Center at Tufts University, as recommending 61% more food than a dog would actually need. Lisa Freeman also notes that feeding directions can leave a lot of room for interpretation. Feeding charts are usually written in this way. Dogs between 0 to 15 pounds should eat 1/2 to 1 cup per day. This leaves a lot of room for error in trying to determine the appropriate amount. Another point to consider is that every dog is unique. You could take 100 dogs that are all 50 pounds and they will require different quantities of food to maintain their ideal body condition. How do we find the right quantity? If you're trying to determine how much food your dog actually needs simply by going off of the feeding directions, there's a really good chance that you're actually overfeeding your dog. It's a better idea to consider these two things. First, assess your dog's body condition. If you have a dog that has long hair or a thick coat, it might look as though they are heavier than they actually are. It's also important to take their breed into consideration. Cattle dogs and greyhounds, for example, have different body types, and so looking at their figure alone could be misleading. This might seem pretty obvious for purebred dogs, but it can get a little bit more confusing when we have mixed breed dogs. The best way to assess your dog's body condition is to run your hands down your dog's back, sides, and hip bones. You should just be able to feel the outline of their ribs and hip bones under a healthy layer of fat. Many times people go out of their way to get their dog to eat more when the reality is their dog is actually at a good weight. Even if it's not from an ideal food source, the calories are coming from somewhere. Second, listen to your dog. If you have a dog like my dog Fritz, who has a bottomless stomach and is always ready for a second breakfast, this might not apply. But if you have a dog like one of my terriers and your dog is snoozing on the couch when you're preparing breakfast, that could be an indicator that you might just be offering them a little bit too much food. The key here is to find that sweet spot. The amount of food that keeps your dog excited at mealtimes, maintains a healthy appetite, and keeps your dog at an ideal weight. How do I help my dog develop healthy eating habits? Here are 7 simple steps to get your dog on track with healthy eating. Feed high-quality dog food. Look past the marketing. Do your research. Look for a food that is healthy for your dog and within your budget. Healthier dog foods have fewer fillers, which means that your dog won't be eating as much at each meal. Take this into account when you are comparing prices. Use measuring cups. When feeding dry dog food, it's important to remember that each of those little nuggets is packed with calories. Estimating quantities is a big mistake. Pick up the bowl. If your dog walks away from their food bowl, pick it up and then feed them their regular portion at their next meal. Don't combine their breakfast and dinner if they skip their previous meal. Find the sweet spot. Pay attention to how much your dog actually wants to eat. Write down how much food they are actually eating out of the total provided at each meal. These are your data points. Average this number over the course of a week and use that as a rough guideline. Some dogs will eat all of their meal for a day or 2 and then stop eating on day 2 or 3. Averaging the quantity your dog eats over the course of 7 days will factor into those fluctuations. Avoid wet toppings. I generally avoid adding wet toppings or gravy to entice a dog to eat more. This can backfire, especially if the toppings are paired with an overabundance of food. It's probably just a matter of time before your dog begins to turn their nose away from that food as well. That being said, it's not wrong to dress up your dog's meals with more appetizing foods. You just have to find the right quantity first. Sprinkle in a little love. Follow the steps above to find the right quantity of food for your dog. Once you've found that sweet spot, you can begin to spice up their meals by grating in a meat roll, like a Happy Howie roll. Grating in the meat roll will allow small pieces to fall into the crevices of the food. Your dog will be able to smell it and it will stimulate a healthy appetite. Most dogs will find it to be a welcome addition to mealtime. Happy Howie rolls are also a perfect training food. Add healthy toppings. It's okay to add foods like carrots, apples, blueberries, or broccoli. Not only is it okay, it's a really good idea for your dog's overall health. Start with small quantities to help them acquire a taste for fruits and veggies. With time, you might notice that these whole foods become some of their favorite snacks. What if my dog is underweight? Here are 4 things to consider. 1. Medical issues. If you think your dog has a poor appetite due to health issues, make sure you consult your veterinarian. 2. Less is more. Animals are biologically programmed to feel that food that is offered in smaller quantities is more desirable. This means that if you provide small quantities of food more frequently throughout the day, you'll see your dog's appetite increase. Leaving large quantities of food out throughout the day usually has the opposite effect. 3. Chronic stress. Address chronic stress like that related to separation anxiety, sound sensitivity, or other stress-related behavioral issues with a qualified behavior consultant. This video I created on this Korean Jindo named Lucky is a good case study on the relationship between appetite, weight, and stress. Lucky started off being extremely underweight. I trained with him for just under 4 weeks. In that time, his confidence grew, his appetite improved, and his weight improved. This is a common occurrence with dogs that are struggling to adapt to their day-to-day routine and environment. 4. Hand feeding. A lot of dogs will be more interested in food when it becomes part of a social activity. Sitting down with your dog at each meal to hand feed meals can help increase their interest in eating nutritious meals. This will be familiar to you if you've seen my video on hand feeding. You might also be interested in this video I created on how food shapes behavior. Tell me about your dog's eating habits in the comments below. And if you like these videos, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.